All right, let's get going. So this session basically is about trying to use technology. If you're a teacher that doesn't have a lot of technology in your school, what do you do? How do you infuse technology into your classes? I think this is a pretty common problem for folks because there isn't piles of money lying around and principals saying, go buy a new lab, here you go, do what you want, be creative. So this is from personal experience too, entering a school that didn't have actually any music going on at all, but definitely no technology resources. And so I basically had my own laptop that I had bought myself, and then I sort of scraped together a few things, microphones, and because I'm passionate about technology and music together, I just wanted to use that in my classroom. So this is some personal experience that I'm going to share and some projects that I've done, mostly working with middle schoolers, but I've in the past worked with elementary school, and I currently teach a high school music technology class as well. Later on today, I think 2 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a session on GarageBand, just sort of the basics of GarageBand, what that program is. And at 4 o'clock, a session all about if you wanted to set up your own music technology course at your school, which is something that I've done. All right, so let's begin. It's kind of a cheesy intro. Just a little fun with GarageBand there. Okay, so what's the purpose of this really? We want to bring music technology into the classroom with limited resources, like I just mentioned. Also, I've been using it really as a tool for group composition or group performance. This is a great thing to do with an elementary class or a middle school class in general music, which is some of the examples from here when I was teaching general music in middle school. And also for assessment purposes. So there's kind of 3 ways you can look at this. Technology is a really great tool for assessment. For example, I'm going to be critiquing myself on the video later on and trying to improve what I'm doing here. So we're going to talk about assessment. So here is something from this book, Technology Strategies for Music Education, right here. And I have a few of these time publications if you want to check some of them out while I'm here. This one is sort of an attempt to define some standards and some content areas, competency areas. So we're really going to be looking at ensemble performance, digital audio, looping, sequencing, signal processing, which is using effects and things like that, sound design, instructional software, electronic portfolios, computer systems. I just wanted to highlight a few things that this might touch on. I wish they'd pipe down next door, couldn't they? So here's a question for you. How many of you have a computer lab in your school? Fully functioning, ready to go? It's actually more than usual.
If all the kids have it.
All the kids, so it's a general music, a general computer lab rather than a music lab.
Or if the kids just have laptops.
Or the kids have laptops. Okay. How many of you are in a school that has a laptop program, so the school provides laptops to kids? Okay. And how many of you are in schools where kids just bring their own device? That's kind of a newer approach. Okay. And how many of you have use of a school laptop? Okay, yeah, everybody's supposed to put their hand up. So the point here is that everybody pretty much has use of a laptop, and so these are things you can do just with your own device, and maybe a projector like I'm using today. So what do you need? You need a laptop. There's, of course, a few options. I'm using a Mac here. You can use Windows, Linux. My school, actually, we started using Linux on some laptops, had a little flirt with that for a while, and didn't find it that successful for music. There's basically, it's a free operating system that you can install, and then there's lots of free software out there. It's not quite as smooth as using a Mac or Windows, what's available right now, but that's another option. Definitely low cost, free. I like things that are free. So this is going to cost you somewhere between $500 and $1,500, depending on what kind of laptop you get. An audio interface. This is going to allow you to get sound from your microphone into your computer. I have one right here, like this. So you're basically plugging in a microphone right here. You have some controls, level controls. This one has phantom power, which is great if you use a condenser microphone that needs some electricity to make it work. And then it spits out the other end where we've got a USB that connects to your computer. It actually has MIDI interface as well. I'm kind of moving away from using this, and I'll show you what I have down front here, which is a little bit easier to use. The very first time I ever presented at a conference, it was actually doing this presentation. I went down to Texas and I was all nervous, and I got everything set up, perfect, all prepared. Had this plugged in, tested it, wonderful. Hit go, and we had nothing, no sound. It turns out the drivers for this thing were what was messing it up, so I had to reboot my whole laptop. Horrible experience, I don't know why I'm mentioning it. All right. So when you're thinking about using a microphone, you want to think, well, what kind of microphone are you going to use? Mono or stereo? You know, with 2 ears, stereo, mono. Usually a mono microphone is adequate for doing something in the classroom. I've even actually used the internal mic on my laptop and had varying results. Sometimes you get a little hum from the laptop. What kind of input do you need to have? You're going to have like a dynamic microphone like this one over here. You'll see one of these. This is your standard SM58, uses a XLR connection here. How are you going to connect that to your computer? This device actually has XLR connection, so it's kind of like any microphone that you can plug into a sound system will work here. Do you need phantom power? Like I mentioned, some microphones require a little electricity to go down the cable as well, 48 volts, I believe. And do you need something that's going to provide that electricity to your microphone? So that's going to cost you around $100 for an interface like that. Here are some various microphones. You can see the one down the bottom here I actually have in front of me is a nice little USB microphone. This is great because it bypasses the need for one of these, and you just plug it straight into your computer. And these kind of a newer development. I guess all of the signal processing takes place in there, and then it spits out binary data to your laptop so it can understand. It's not having to go through that conversion outside of itself. So again, some other options there.
How much is that? That's what my...
This one, I think it's around, I think you can get them for about $60 now if you search around. But it also has some different settings on the back. Like it's really designed, well, one of the main uses is for podcasting. You're sitting in front of it, you're talking into the microphone. It has a setting on the back for that. And then it also has a setting if you're in a room, say you're recording a band or a large ensemble, it's making a little bit more noise. There's another setting there, and there's kind of an omnidirectional setting too, which picks up sound from all around. So I'm actually using that one today.
Is that called blue?
That's called a blue snowball. All right, and don't forget when you're pricing this out, you've got to think about cables and stands and boring stuff like that. It's amazing how it adds up. Okay, and then software. So you're recording into your machine, you've got the sound into your machine. What are you actually going to record onto? You're going to use something that's free or open source, something that you have to purchase, or something that already comes on your machine. So we're looking at somewhere between zero cost if it's pre-installed or it's free to about $50, $60. This is a very popular program, Audacity. How many of you have heard of Audacity? Yeah. A lot of people use this now. It works on all platforms. It's free, it's easy to use, and it's good for just simple recording. I can do that too. The downside about Audacity, it's a little tricky to edit, it's quite basic. I put it crashes at times, but I haven't actually noticed that in the last year or two, so maybe I should take that off. GarageBand, this is one that, I'll be talking about 2 o'clock today. That actually comes already on the Mac, so you don't need to buy it, it's already there. Sometimes music teachers will buy a Mac for that reason, that it already comes with a lot of the software ready to use. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. You know, Apple's like, they make it sort of mindless to just be able to, like, you hit it and it works, you know. It's very powerful as well, actually, surprisingly. It's one of those programs that's really easy to use, and yet you can go a long way with it too. I've used it with 3rd graders. It's very easy to edit, it's pre-installed, it works with iTunes, so if you want to actually just export what you've recorded, if you've done something complicated, you want to mix it down to an MP3 file, or burn a CD, you can do that. It's only on the Mac, that's the downside. Windows software. There's a couple of sort of comparable pieces of software if you're a Windows user and you're saying, I'm never going to get a Mac, what am I going to do? Sony Acid Music Studio is one. Mixcraft is another one. Mixcraft's probably the closest to GarageBand or something like that. Again, very colorful, easy to use. And then what's kind of interesting is some of the new things that have popped up online. You know how we're all connected and everything is just very fast, broadband. There's a lot of websites now that are using technology that allow you to actually just stream back and forth and record on the website itself. Things like Jam Studio, Indaba, eJamming. Have you seen Avery? There's a whole suite. There's like, I think it's called Minor. They have a recording thing, they have like a remixing thing. They even have a digital photo and all that business too. And NoFlight. Does anyone use NoFlight? Yeah, that's great. It's really developed a lot in the last few years. It's still, I think you can still get a free version of it that does a good amount of work. I think it's sort of a good replacement for Finale Notepad that sort of stopped being developed as much. But it's basically, you go on a website, it's all Flash-based, and you can just type in the notes, and you can play in the notes, and it's notation on the web page. It's excellent. And they actually have, you can sign up, you know, to get like a school license, and they even have a Haiku LMS back end to it that you could run your whole course on. So the good thing about that is it will run in any browser, so it doesn't matter if you have a PC or a Mac or a Linux machine. Most of them are free. You've got instant collaboration opportunities. Some of these you can go online and you can sort of jam with somebody who lives halfway across the world and they can contribute to the same piece that you're playing. It's pretty cool. Of course you need fast internet, otherwise it doesn't work too well. I end up not using these options myself right now just because of you know, laggy internet speed pretty much, or just slow processor power. It just takes a lot of speed to make it work seamlessly. It's pretty early days with this kind of technology, and I haven't found them quite as easy to use as some standalone programs. But they're there. The iPad, this is, our school bought a couple of iPads, and I recently got this thing called the Alesis I/O dock, which I actually have down here, and I can show you. If you didn't have a laptop, or if you actually were thinking about an alternative to a laptop, this could actually be a good one for you because it has GarageBand that you can download. I think it's like $2.99 or something. That's $2.99. So you can actually plug a microphone in. Let me come over here so you can continue to hear me. I have it set up right here. This iPad is kind of slotted into this dock, and on the back there are some regular XLR inputs, and it has phantom power. You can connect it to a projector. What else? It's got MIDI in, MIDI out, and USB for MIDI. Headphones. So it basically kind of turns your iPad into a little recording unit. Unfortunately, you have to plug it in, so it's not completely mobile, but I was pretty impressed with that. I could actually show you right now if I turn this thing on and I adjust my projector. I did this once and it worked, so therefore it probably won't work this time. Let's see. There we go, that's the iPad that I'm showing you right there. And we can do a little test. I plugged in the microphone into the back, and I'm going to see if I can just record something. Hello, hello. This is me on the iPad. All right, and then you can see that, can't you? There's a couple of different views here. Let me go back to the more traditional view, and you can see that it's recorded me right there. Let me play it back. Hello, this is me on the iPad. Hello, hello. This is me on the iPad. All right, so basically you can do a lot of what I'm going to show you on the actual Mac version on the iPad too, which is kind of a new thing, and to be honest, I've only had this for about a couple of weeks, so I haven't played with it too much. But again, it's another option for you. You know, $500 laptop, $500 iPad. I may go for the iPad myself. Let's go back to my computer here.
Got a question.
It works.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way you can additionally interface that with a real keyboard?
Yep.
Or synthesizer?
Question is, can you plug in a keyboard to this? You could use the MIDI input and you can plug in a keyboard and you can play. Actually, that GarageBand has a lot of like keyboard sounds and organ sounds and stuff like that. You can actually play it with the keyboard. So imagine going to a gig with a little controller keyboard and an iPad. That is possible, yeah. Okay, moving on. So, the IO dock's about $170, iPad, cheapest one's about $500, and GarageBand, so I guess it's $4.99, $5. You know, it used to be that you would buy a fully featured recording program for about $500 or $600. That's like maybe going back 10, 15 years ago. All right, so if you want to go, cheapest option here is probably, you got your own laptop, you're going to get the blue Snowball microphone, and you're going to use some free software like Audacity. You're going to run to your principal demanding $80. It's not bad, is it? Let's say you have your own laptop, you want to buy one of these USB audio MIDI interfaces because you have different microphones that you want to use and plug into that. It's a bit more flexible. You want to get like a nice microphone, cables, and you're going to use some free software. You're looking $580. Again, you could probably get the iPad and the IO dock for that, but obviously you need a microphone as well. And if you want to splurge for this stuff, you want to get a nice laptop, maybe like a really nice MacBook Pro or something. You want to get the USB interface, nice microphone, cables and stands, and you want to purchase something to go in there and record onto. You're looking about $2 grand. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate just a couple of things here that you can do on GarageBand. We're going to do an ostinato rhythm. And then what you can do is you can use some headphones so that you can kind of listen to the first track that you did, and you can conduct the group and do a second track. And so you can multi-track record. You could layer up different things. And this is really fun to do with kids. I've done this. We did like a spooky Halloween type sound effect thing. You went a bit crazy with the effects in there, but you could just do basic rhythms and clapping. That works really well. Ask the students, well, you know, what are we going to put on this next? Give me some ideas, and they can all feedback, and they can have some real impact in what they're saying up on the screen. And you can discuss things like structure, musical structure and form. How do we then piece this together to make it into more of a piece rather than just, you know, a layer of sound? You can get a whole mini composition out of that. Okay, demo. Let me go over here. All right, so here's my GarageBand screen. I'm going to delete that. Let me see if I can actually hear my metronome. Okay, it's going to give me, whoops, it's going to give me 4 beats, and then it's going to start recording, in theory. Try that again. So, let's think of a rhythm that we could clap. What can we clap? Give me some ideas. Something simpler. Give me half of that.
Yeah.
Give me the first half. Thank you, Sarah. We used to do that in my first elementary school, and all the kids would do that back and they get quiet. So let's try that. Ready? We're going to hear the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to go. It's magic. It appeared on the screen. So we have a basically a 1-measure loop that we could loop again and again. I'll show you how to do that. I'm just going to trim the end over here, make it fit, and then a nifty little copy function will give me that over and over again. Our timing is not quite perfect, I guess because we need to come in right on. The latest version of GarageBand is pretty cool. It actually will adjust your timing. I'm waiting for it to actually do the recording for you. You can, let's see, we're quantizing. Yeah, you used to just be able to quantize MIDI tracks because obviously it's just data, it's not real audio. But now, what are we on, 8th notes maybe? Let's see what that does. Wow. It's not perfect. But it's moved our claps to fit within an 8th note grid. So that's one track. What I need to do now, if I want to do another track with you and layer it up, is that I need to put on the headphones, which one, the kids like because it makes you look silly, and then they can swear behind your back. And secondly, it actually means that we're not going to pick up that on the microphone the second time around, which could be a problem. So let me put these on and unplug this, and then we'll somebody be thinking of a complementary rhythm that could go with that. We could use like stamps or snaps or something like that. Okay. And again, I'm recording through my USB microphone right here. That's where it's coming into. Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody give me something. What do we got? So we got this one. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Can we do that? Bum, ba-dum, bum. See? Bum, ba-dum, bum. We're going to practice, right? Bum, ba-dum, bum. We're going to compete with them. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Okay, good. Here we go. I'm going to count you in. Are you ready? We could do that the third leg. Here we go. Ready? And 2, 3, 4. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum. I couldn't help it. All right. Did that work? It seems very quiet. Let's hear that. I'm going to plug it back in so you can hear it. It did work. So I'm going to loop that. It's a little quiet. So what I can do is just compress it a little bit. You could turn it up. There we go. You get the idea. You can layer up different tracks, and you can do something that you would typically do with an elementary class or a middle school class on just improving their rhythmic awareness. The kids love it because they're seeing it become real up on the screen. Okay, you do this in class, it's like, okay, I get it, but what's the big deal? All of a sudden, they're seeing a visual image of their waveform, and you're manipulating it. And it's kind of like when you write something down, it becomes more real. I think when you record something, it becomes more real for the kids. So to me, that's a really good reason to do this. Okay, so technology as a mirror for the kids. And this is what I'm talking about. They're seeing what they're doing reflected back to them, and there's sort of a reflective process involved in that. So that's where the advantage is to me. We can use this for self-assessment, peer assessment. They can feedback on each other's work. I can use it, so I can go back later and I can actually listen to what they did and I can assess it then, rather than frantically trying to scroll down in my grade book. Okay, that was okay. I can really listen and pay attention to what I'm doing. It's good for formative and summative assessments. You can publish student work. It's so easy to just export, a video or an MP3, put it up on a website, if you're allowed to. And it's a good way to connect with parents. How better way to publicize your music program than you send home a recording of something you did in class that's really unique and cool and different. You don't get a lot of other subject teachers doing that. I kind of like this quote. Self-evaluation is a potentially powerful technique because of its impact on student performance through enhanced self-efficacy and increased intrinsic motivation. And as a little warm-up, you can try and say that 5 times fast. So we're in the classroom. This is a real-time activity. A lot of time we're in the classroom, in history or math or English, we're talking about something that happened in the past. Music is very much in the moment, and this allows us to keep it in the moment, but then also to record what we do. You can step back and evaluate what you did second time around. It's amazing if we record a concert at school and let the kids watch it afterwards, Well, for one, they're all like, oh, we're terrible. But it really allows them to hear it from a different perspective. Of course, it never sounds as good on the recording, in my opinion, but I think our ears compensate in real life. Hearing yourself on a recording can be more valuable than me saying, well, that was good, Johnny, but I think you're a little behind the beat. He can hear that he's behind the beat. They can often be very harsh critics of their own work, so then you get to step in and kind of be there to say, well, actually, no, I think that was pretty good because. And you can get kids to, give positive feedback on various things. We're talking about, well, what was really good about that? It's not that it was cool. What did you like about that? How was the rhythm? How was the timing? Did we maintain a good tempo? This is actually a really good way to figure out, did you stay in time? Were you loud enough? What were our dynamics like? Kids are working together, it's very student driven. And then of course there's you all felt this collective sense of achievement just now when you heard your multi-track recording, right? A little bit warm and fuzzy inside. Increases your motivation. And then for me as a teacher, I can really focus in on the students rather than grading them in real time, and I can take the work home. Not that I really want to do that, but I can, if I want to, I can take it away and I can grade it afterwards. It's also a permanent record. How do you know that what they clapped 3 weeks ago was accurate? Well, I have it here on an MP3. And then also, I'm a big fan of recording as a process, not as a finished product. Recording doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually a way to improve. And oftentimes in class, I'm teaching right now middle school band, we'll record ourselves at various points and we'll try it again. We'll listen to it and say, well, what do we need to improve? How do we fix that? And the kids come up with all the answers. And then we record it again, and it always sounds better the second time, the third time. And it's really, like I said, music sometimes is up in the air, and kids don't always understand what you're talking about. And so you can really point to exactly what you're talking about, and they can hear it too. Like I said, you don't have to be doing a perfect recording every time. This is a rehearsing process, a refining process. Students are part of it, and you have some real concrete examples of what you've done. I think I've mentioned this already. You can burn CDs, not that we even need to do that these days. I'm kind of running out of CDs. When I need a CD now, it's really hard to find one because I just email it myself. And like I said, if you have a music website or something, you can post work up on there. Okay, so here's a project that I did, I think it was 7th grade. I kind of like this whole minimalism, crazy music nonsense. We looked at this video here about phase shifting, and then what we did is a project where we recreated that idea. And phase shifting is basically where you have a pattern and another pattern, and the second pattern is just slightly longer. And as they loop, the two gradually move further apart, and you hear different things with the two patterns, the way they work together or work against each other. And this was kind of a fun video that adds a visual to that, so I use this as an example for my kids. And I may not play the whole thing because of time, but here we go. Two videos that are overlapped, they're kind of on top of each other, and you'll see that more as the video progresses. But then we did that with GarageBand. You know, we recorded a pattern, we elongated the second, we copied it, the same thing, we elongated the second one, and we selected both and we dragged them across, and we had the same effect. It's a pretty complicated thing. I don't think you'd actually recreate that without using technology. And then here's another one, similar idea, except it's actually moving each time you actually make it like an eighth note longer, and so it stays sort of within that grid of eighth notes, but it moves. Here's Yummy Cheese Turkey, which some of my kids came up with.
Cheese turkey, cheese turkey, cheese turkey,
It's doing something a little bit weird, but that's okay. Let's try and do this actually right here, right now. Ready? Sorry, I'm deleting that. So it's going N, C, M, E, A. Ready? Here we go. Do we need to rehearse or we're okay? You gonna be loud? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. N, C, M, E, A. That was nice. Okay, so we take this. We take this and we duplicate that track. Duplicate, okay, and then I'm gonna bring this one down here. Have a second one, so they're both exactly the same right now. And then, let's see, I am going to make this one a little bit longer. Zoom in. I want to make it an eighth note longer, really. There we go. And if I select both of them together, and then copy, I get that effect. Let's see if we can hear that. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. I think, again, the timing is a little off there, but you can create something that sounds pretty cool. Let's get back here. I'm going to skip this one because of time, but it's the same idea. And here's another one that the kids came up with. I hope this one comes through. Something strange is happening with the recording. So that's the basic idea. All right, so do we have any questions about any of this stuff? I showed you quite a few different things and some ideas, but what I kind of want you to take away from this is that you can get into a classroom with a laptop, with an iPad, a microphone, and you can do some creative projects with the kids. Like I said, Halloween is so much fun just to create spooky sounds, and then you put a bunch of reverb on it, or you put some weird effects, and we create a sound effect. Rhythmic applications, again, recording your band at various points. Any questions? Yes, sir. Sorry, let's go with you right here.
Okay. Do you think it's better if we just keep this use of technology strictly to like elementary and middle school, or could it be appropriate for higher levels, like high school, college?
I think I'm sort of pitching this to elementary and middle, mostly because then you have a general music class, or you have a band or something like that. I mean, I've taught high school band. Right now I have a music technology course where we're actually composing. So I guess this approach is good for where you have a class of several kids, general music kind of thing. But I mean, like I said, I've used it with elementary students, with middle school students, and with high school students. Sir?
When you use this in the classroom, do you do it with the whole class watching on the screen, just a small group? have other students doing a different activity. How does it work classroom management-wise?
Yeah, we're all looking at the same thing. We're all engaged in the same process. Just like we were here, we're all looking at the screen, we're all working together. There's no classroom management issues because everybody's, everybody wants to go next. I mean, when we're doing layering up, somebody might come up to the microphone and they might have a sound that they would record, and then everybody sort of, has to be quiet, and they need to understand why they need to be quiet because it's going to get picked up on the microphone. So suddenly there's a good reason to be quiet, if there wasn't one before. Yeah.
Is the 2 o'clock session going to go more in depth on what you were doing with GarageBand?
Yes, 2 o'clock GarageBand session is all about GarageBand, all the things you could do in GarageBand on both the Mac and also on the iPad, and even on the iPhone or iPod, because they just released it for that. All right, well, once again, thank you for coming, and please come to all of our time technology sessions. Pick up a time discounted membership application at the back. I also have my handout at the back. Visit my website, and thank you for coming. See you soon.
Thank you, Master, for presenting.